When explaining to other faculty that I teach a flipped style classroom, the most common comment is, well, I can't do that in my class. I have over 100 students. Faculty are often surprised to hear that my course sections are also over 100 students each, currently 160 students, and often taught in traditional lecture halls with fixed chairs. I completely understand their initial concern though. Before teaching this course, my teaching experience was with only 20 to 40 students in a classroom. When I was first assigned to teach a class of over 100 students in a traditional lecture hall with fixed chairs, I had to develop ways to adapt a flipped style approach to a large course. So in a large lecture hall, one of the biggest challenges is finding a way to have that relationship with students, so being able to interact with every student. That's one thing that I'm always working on, is making sure I'm interacting with everyone. To do that then, one of the big things is also having the graduate student assistants there to kind of help and engage with students as well, so that students aren't feeling left out. So that's one big thing. Another big thing with it is making sure that everyone is actively participating. So sometimes, as I just mentioned, it's hard to engage with every single person during every single class period. So how do you know everyone's actually been participating in their group projects or group activities? So to deal with some of the challenges then, I've used various tools at MSU. So one of my first big challenges was thinking about how am I going to set up these teams and have students actually working in teams. So with that then I started using CATME, Smarter Teamwork, and that is actually a program that has a survey that students will fill out the survey on demographics and course expectations, those kind of things, and the program then will take that information and actually put students in teams for you. So I'm not manually doing this with everyone. And I still go through and check and make a few changes, but for the most part it works really well. It's usually less than an hour for my classes that are now over 150 students. Another issue with switching from a small class to a large class was how was I going to grade classroom participation. Students work in teams for nearly the entire class period. In a small classroom, it is easy to view not only who is present, but who is actively engaged in the activity. In larger classes, I have known teachers to collect worksheets to grade participation, but that requires large piles of paperwork each day and using valuable class time to pass back the paperwork. Instead, I decided to take advantage of the Brightspace Pulse mobile app and have students take a photo of the completed work with everyone's names on it and upload it to D2L assignment folder. This has eliminated the need to keep track of physical papers. Students can also keep their work, and the teaching team is still able to provide feedback and grades to students. As mentioned earlier, one of the benefits of a flipped style approach is that students learn the basic content outside of class so that they can spend as much time needed to understand the material. Using the D2L online learning management system and Kaltura media space, I have been able to increase the variety of resources that are offered to students. Years ago, I only assigned textbook readings that were listed in the syllabus. Then a few years ago, I started adding videos, initially just a few. Now on D2L, I have a module folder for each class day with all associated readings and a graded task. There are still some textbook readings, which are from a free online textbook, but there are also several other resources, including links to videos, animations, and simulations. When I cannot find an adequate reading or video, then I use Kaltura Media Space to create one. Overall, Kaltura has allowed my class to not be limited by what's available online, and D2L offers an organized way to provide so many resources to my students. So I definitely think that this is something that other people can do in their large lecture halls. It's really just kind of figuring out the little mechanics of it. So as I mentioned, like finding ways to set up teams, so using CATME. Sometimes people will have students just form informal teams, but oftentimes they don't actually work in those informal teams, so making those teams really helps. So doing that, having a way to check for participation, so it's not taking a whole lot of time where you're physically handling all these papers and trying to juggle all that class to class. So it's definitely feasible. There's so many resources available online now of different activities that are meant for flipped style classrooms that you can pretty easily pull those up and start using them and start putting them in the class.